If you could whisper just one truth about motherhood into your younger self's ear, what would you whisper?
I'm getting emotional.
My bad.
The one truth that I would whisper is that don't be afraid of what motherhood can bring out of you.
Where we at? Where are we?
We're in the studio.
The stew.
The stew.
Doing what? What are we in the studio?
We are shooting for From Her Side podcast. My new podcast. I'm super hype about it.
The pod.
The pod. I'm going to sing everything. The pod. Pod.
Oh, that. Sorry. Some of us got it. Some of us working on it.
Well, we're super glad that you guys are here. Welcome. My name is Charlie Lotus, aka Lo, but definitely call me Lo.
I'm Theezy. I'm Theron. You can call me Theron. I am the co-host here to support my lovely, beautiful, and talented wife. So I'm glad to be here. Let's get it. Let's make magic.
Yeah. So,
More babies.
we already have
Let's
one coming,
creep.
and this is number 5. Now, number 6 if you count our angel baby. Yeah, how did we get here?
That's probably a better question for you. What made you want to do Le Pod?
I think with where I'm at in motherhood and how my journey has gone, I see a need for women to have deeper and more in-depth conversations in regards to what motherhood is in this day and age. And there's so many different experiences, right? Like there's so many women who have villages, who don't have villages, who own their own businesses, who, the goal or, ultimate agreement is to be a stay-at-home mom with their partner or doing it with a partner or without a partner. And, there's just so many different aspects to motherhood that it's just changed so much. And I can even say in my own experience, like there were things that I wish I would have known prior to becoming a mom that wouldn't have changed my decision at all, but maybe I could have been a little more prepared.
Hey Mama, thank you for joining us. Motherhood never ends, and neither should our fellowship. Make sure you join our community so we can do life together and be the village that we've always wanted and needed.
What was one thing about motherhood you wish somebody shared with you prior to?
I think my only measure of motherhood were the things that I was told as a child in retrospect to like how I was as a child. So I wish I would have had more conversations or had more women in my life who were able to tell me how challenging motherhood could be, but also how magical it is at the same time. Like it's the weirdest balance of like really hard sometimes, but the most rewarding thing ever. And I don't think that was something.
So you would tell them that? You would say it's really hard. So you say buckle up, but you're going to get some kisses. That's what you tell them? Buckle up, but you'll get kisses.
So I think I can relate this to like my teaching career, right? Where you're in the classroom and you get to know these kids and their families and, just trying to help foster a healthy and safe environment for them to learn and grow. But you send those kids home. And when you become a parent, you don't send those kids home. They come home with you.
Yeah.
So I think that almost gave me a different skill set that like helped with my journey in motherhood. But I don't think I was necessarily prepared for the emotional side of what motherhood could bring out of you. Just dealing with like past traumas or healing or seeing people have like villages, like a very like strong village where people are rearing children with you and wanting that or not even knowing if you really want that, but just like it would be nice. I think motherhood just brings out a different requirement to help you evolve as a woman.
And so you spoke about villages, which I think is a big thing. Our journey was having our babies during the pandemic, so it was tough to have a village. It was kind of against rules to have a village in a sense. So we had to make do with what we had, and we had 4 babies in 4 years, so it's been nonstop since the pandemic and through the pandemic and learning how to maneuver through there. What do you think has been the biggest help doing that successfully without a village?
I'll say that I don't think anything can really prepare you for a pandemic, right? Especially because how often do pandemics come around?
Yeah.
Right? So even the generation before us try to give the best advice, but they weren't rearing children in the early years during a pandemic. Like, we literally had our first child 3 months before the world shut down.
Right.
And it was a super scary time with a lot of unanswered questions. It seemed like everyone was sick. Everyone's life was on the line. It was really scary. But I think one thing that really helped me and us and help like foster a healthy environment for our daughter at the time was being really structured in our routines with her. And so just kind of knowing what to expect, she started to learn what to expect. There was routines, we're not dealing with, a lot of tantrums or fighting with her essentially because she's kind of hip to what we're doing, because we kept it so routine.
So in that routine, I guess, what would you say, since the routine is the important part and you say the one thing that you would need, what do you say in the times that you did fall short? Because we know that it was not all roses and butterflies. The times that you did fall short, what do you think was the biggest contributor to that? Falling short, missing the routines, them missing naps, or them not getting in the hang of their sleep schedule?
I think as a recovering people pleaser, not getting caught up in making other people happy outside of like what I need to do to foster a good schedule for my child, right? Like, we missed birthday parties or we were late to birthday parties because we were honoring naps, things like that. But because we did that, our child started sleeping through the night, 7 to 7, starting at 3 months old.
Right.
And, so many people look at us and like, how could you have had so many kids? Like, this is crazy, during a pandemic. It really lent itself to the fact that our kids sleep and they sleep well. And at some point, you can start dreaming about having more children if that's what you desire, because you've got a good grip on what's happening with the one that you already have. And we were rested. Like, even though it was just you and I, we had really good structure and we still have really good structure and routines, and the girls know the deal, and nap times are scheduled, and, everything is within a scope of everyone just kind of knows what the expectation is.
Right.
And it's just fostered a really great environment for us to even rest with so many small children.
And now that we've talked about the little babies, we've talked about everything. People who don't know, thank you for being here. We've had 4 babies in 4 years, and we're pregnant right now with the 5th. We have been waiting to find out the gender, but a lot of times in having babies, we lose like the marriage aspect. So, or just us as individuals, right? So as a mom, you were a singer-songwriter, traveled the world with me playing when I was playing basketball. You are a teacher, and then you're a mommy.
Yeah.
Now the transformation, how did that take a toll on you? And what did you do to like rechannel your focus into motherhood and being a momager for the babies and then their acting careers and that type of thing?
It's so interesting to look back in retrospect, because I think if you would have told me this is where we would be, I would have laughed. I wouldn't have believed you. It's one of those things where you can kind of see how God prepared you in the early years for what has come about now. And even just, like, I had dreams of being in the entertainment business and, being a singer-songwriter, and I have EPs out and all of this stuff prior to children. And then, I had 2 master's degrees, and teaching was just something I was really good at and had a skill set in, and the vacations is when I would do all my music, right? It was a balance that I was able to just kind of be me. And then transitioning into motherhood, I then got to use the skill sets that I learned while teaching with my own children and their behaviors, especially because of, the program that I came out of.
Yeah, and they in homeschools.
Yeah, and now we're homeschooling. And we had always talked about homeschooling, but now we're like actively doing it.
Yeah.
And then just with the singing and music side of it, now I get to sing to my children written songs for them that, we haven't released, but hope to, and lullabies and all of the things that they love. You know, I know that they give you a hard time at bedtime
Yeah, they
because of me.
you set the bar high, so it's kind of tough. They be trying to have me hit the high notes and it ain't going. You already heard me trying to hit notes now. So I be trying though.
And then even with their modeling and their acting and commercial shoots and all of those things, I get to foster their creativity and their enjoyment through that, which gives me joy. But then I also get to make sure that they're safe and they're happy and it's actually something they want to do.
Safe in terms of what?
The industry can be really cutthroat. It can be really dangerous for especially young girls, and even just down to our morals of what we would allow our children to do or not to do in shoots. Even when we were during the pandemic, it was the interactions. If we did any shoots that had multiple people, we would decline them because everything was so unknown at the time. Yeah, just protecting them, but also being able to foster their joy, essentially, and creativity, like if they want to do it. And we don't force them. They genuinely like to do it. They'll dress up and put on fashion shows in the house,
Yeah.
So I think I got to take all of the things that I loved about my identity prior to becoming a mother and shift them into what it is to be a mom and still use those skills as a mother. So, and then I still get joy from that too.
What do you feel like you've done to maintain some type of proximity to your old self?
I think it took me time to figure out that I have to make time.
Okay.
Like it took me time. It took me losing myself completely in motherhood and then being like, oh my gosh, I don't even recognize myself. What do I even like to do now? And then giving myself the grace of like, it's okay that this has changed, or it's okay that it has evolved, and not giving into the idea that I just lost everything in becoming a mother.
Yeah.
Which was like a really negative connotation that I kind of grew up with understanding, is that once you have kids, like your life is over. And it's not. It's just that, well, one, having a supportive partner who doesn't want you to get so lost in the sauce that you don't even recognize yourself, right? Because they're in relationship with you, and that relationship struggles as well if you continue to put yourself on the back burner for everyone else. But there's a way to feel fulfilled in what you're doing as a mother, but then also make sure that you pour into yourself a little bit. Just make your heart happy. And I think it's a forever evolving aspect of motherhood. There are times when, I'm not doing such a great job at maintaining that self-care or like hobbies or things for myself. And then I feel it. And then I'm like, okay, I need to go do something for me.
Yeah.
Hey mama, just a quick pause here. I hope you're really enjoying this content. Remember, motherhood feels better when you're rested, supported, and connected. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel to join our community of thriving, rested mamas. We'd love to have you a part of our village. Let's get back to it.
Sometimes we get caught up in like the day-to-days, and you're a mom too, so it's tough. How do you feel like in those times, like you spoke about, you having trouble finding yourself as a mom? How do you feel like God has helped you in those times? And like, what's the best practice for you, like biblically, that you lean on for that?
So shout out to you for implementing like journaling every day and reading my Bible. I know that was something you started and you suggested I did, and then I hopped on. And I think that even though like of course not every scripture is about womanhood and being a mother and everything, I think it's allowed me to offer myself the same grace that I give to so many others, and then treating people with the amount of grace that I hope to receive as well. Of course, like being in the Word makes a huge difference. Like I can tell the difference in my day when I do my journal in the morning before the kids wake up, or when I'm like, struggling to do it right before I go to sleep, and I'm like half asleep, like knocking out, like dropping the pen, like really struggling to get through it. And I can tell the difference in that. I just think like your prayer life, essentially, I used to be afraid to ask for the things that I desired or wanted, or to pray about them. And also my prayers being more introspective than like wishing for change on the outside, like even just within marriage, and not even getting into details, but just like, praying that something would change in our marriage, or you would change, essentially. Like, that's not my responsibility as a wife to pray for you to change, right? So then I had to like kind of turn the table and ask God to change me in a way that would make this better for us, or better for our children, or better for our home, or just better for our marriage in general. And so I think just those small shifts of being in the Word, making God the priority, and then not being afraid to ask for the things that I really want, but also in an introspective way. Like, help me become a better wife so that I can like better support you, or help me become the mother that you intended me. So I think that those have been really helpful for me.
It's fire. That's really dope. Hope y'all took notes. Hope y'all got that.
And remember that if this content is blessing you, then definitely hit that
Share.
subscribe,
Subscribe.
share. You know, if you're a mom, especially a new mom or in the early years, I hope that that just gave you a little bit of peace
And encouragement.
and encouragement.
Playing off that a little bit, if you could whisper just one truth about motherhood into your younger self's ear, what would you whisper?
I'm getting emotional.
You want to come back? You want to spin the block?
Oh my gosh.
You want to spin the block?
Wow.
You want to spin the block, come back to it?
I'm blaming on the pregnancy.
Okay. We ain't got no wife. I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, I wasn't either. The one truth that I would whisper is that don't be afraid of what motherhood can bring out of you throughout your journey, and that mothering your own children can be very healing for your inner child. And so I think that that would be what I would tell myself.
That's a long whisper, but that's what you whisper.
Well, essentially, like, I mean, I would just whisper that, like, you can heal while mothering your children and, like, being the mother that you needed, essentially.
So I know that you have a long list of people that are gonna bless the pod, and I know they have a lot of knowledge and wisdom and gain. What could a new mom, a woman, just expect to learn, understand, and gain from watching from her side?
I think anyone who comes here is going to get retrospect on what they hope to be as a mom, right? Even in their own experiences, because of the people that are going to come and have these conversations and the topics we're going to discuss. So that if you're a CEO of a business and you want to be a mom, and what that looks like. If you're someone who struggles with mental health and still want to be a mom, and like, how does that, interact with each other? People who have a desire to fully dedicate to their family and be a stay-at-home mom, essentially going from like working the workforce to like working for your family, and what that looks like, and having those conversations. And so I think any woman who wants to be a mom, thinking about being a mom, is in the early years of motherhood and trying to figure it out, there's going to be something for you that is going to help push you forward in what is possible. And talking about those truths that not a lot of people are having conversations about, or maybe there's no one in your direct circle or village that is able to speak from that perspective of what you're wanting, right? Because everyone wants what they want for themselves, and that could be different than the people that are around you. It could be different from the family that you come from. It could be different from, anything that you thought motherhood could be. So I want to open that up to all of the possibilities that motherhood could bring, while still working through like who you want to be, your identity, and like accepting this new role as a mother.
So essentially picking up from other moms who've been through different, you probably haven't been through, but give you a little guidance, a roadmap on how to navigate those waters and navigate those roads, I guess, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many guests who do so many different things, right? And the one thing we have in common is that we're either all mothers or want to be mothers.
Right.
And so there's this common want or assignment that we essentially have, while still holding on to the desires of our hearts, elevating in your career, what that looks like, pausing on your career to dedicate to your family. And there's no like cookie cutter answer to how to do this. It's more about what do you want and how do you go about it, and who's kind of done it before you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right. Just put some D's on it, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Some phones.
How can I shoot? For sure. Okay. All moms out there who are looking for a little bit of knowledge and, trying to do it by yourself, y'all know that from her side has you covered, and it's going to get you right,
Yeah, definitely. We're ready to be your village, even if you have one.
So we appreciate y'all for pulling up to the From Her Side podcast. And don't forget, man, I got y'all. We going from his side too. You already know. So we going to have a little space, a little area to, you feel me? All right.
Well, thank you for pulling up
Hey, appreciate y'all.
to From Her Side podcast. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that bell notification so that you are notified the next time we post a video.
Yeah.
All right. We all take care and stay blessed.
And check out all the videos we've posted
Yes.
and the bump dates that are coming up. The baby is coming soon. Just let y'all know about that.
Yeah.
Y'all stay blessed.
Take care.
Out.